Today, the day is broken down into 3 sessions. And the first session is the first panel, her presentation and the first panel that I'm just about to invite. And then after a tea break, we will have the second panel that is led by Sebastian, will be moderated by Sebastian, and then the last one will be in the afternoon. So this is divided into WhatsApp, get to understand what is the state of current soil health in Kenya, what are the causes, myths and misbeliefs. Then the second one is what's good. What are people doing in other jurisdictions or even in Kenya? What are the best practices that people are doing in blending, in taking care of their soil? And then in the afternoon, we'll look at what's next. Now that we understand what's the cause of soil degradation, we've seen what other people are doing in other jurisdictions, and then what's next now for us going forward from here. So at this juncture, please allow me to invite the first panel. And here to represent the industry, please allow me to invite the head of crop nutrition and marketing from Elgon, Kenya. That is Mr. Jeremiah Njuguna. Let's give a round of applause to Mr. Jeremiah. Karibu sana Bwana Jeremiah, you will sit on this seat. I'd also like to invite our second panelist, who is a farmer and an agronomist. He's an influencer, if you like, on Facebook and social media. He starts quite interesting conversations around agriculture, and that is Mr. David Ndegwa. Let's give a round of applause to Mr. Ndegwa. Come on, give a better round of applause to our farmer, Bwana Ndegwa. Karibu sana. Our third speaker is a soil scientist from Calro. For many years he's been here. That is Mr. David Kamau. Let's give a round of applause for Mr. Kamau. He has done quite a lot in the industry. Karibu sana. Our next, our final panelist for now, no, the next panelist, not the final, is Mr. Mushigiri, who is the head of Farm Inputs, State Department of Agriculture. A round of applause to Mr. Mushigiri. Karibu sana Bwana Mushigiri. And then last for now is Mr. Jeremy Cordingley, who is the founder of Crop Nuts Limited. A round of applause to Jeremy. All right. And I will take the opportunity to moderate this panel. I think I'll do it from this position for now. I don't know whether my microphones are now good. Okay, we will share the ones we have. I think this is good. So we'll start with you, David. Let me get myself ready. So, David, you as a farmer and as an experienced agronomist, you've met with a lot of farmers, and even on social media, on Facebook. And if you are on Facebook, please follow this gentleman. He has a lot of nuggets, David Ndegwa. He has a lot of nuggets on Facebook, and he gets us excited. He would probably put up a post on fertilizer or anything agriculture, and you get like 200 comments within the first 2 hours. So that should tell you something about him. So David, you've worked with a lot of farmers. You have engaged with a lot of practitioners in the field. There are a number of myths that you've had around fertilizer and what they are doing to our soil. Do you mind sharing one or two, and probably how best do we change that misconception about the fertilizers?
One of the biggest myths that I've had is that fertilizers degrade or damage the soils, or they kill the soil. The other myth is that you can do without fertilizers. These are two myths, and you ask for two. If you want me to add more, I can add more. The other myth is that the fertilizers, because they are chemical in nature, they damage the soil. The other thing is that if you apply fertilizers, you can also develop cancer through what you are going to ingest from the food.
From the food. Do you think those are true? Have you at least verified one or two of those?
They are not true, because if we talk about degrading, I think the most important thing is to understand the word degrading. We are talking about degrading. So you're talking about a grade, something that is graded, and then you are grading it, like you're taking something out of that. Yeah. What happens is that If you look at the soil, if you do the soil analysis, you'll find that you have nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, you have magnesium, calcium, and sulfur, and also the trace elements. I haven't seen anything in fertilizer that is beyond that. But so fertilizers, when you put fertilizers, they add the nutrients that are labeled within the bag or according to the analysis of that fertilizer. So if the soil has an N or nitrogen, how would you then say that additional of N from fertilizer is degrading? How would you say potassium is degrading when it is added in the soil, and potassium is also a component of the soil? So I haven't seen anything in fertilizer that is not a component of the soil. What degrades the soils, as we have been told here by Dr. Wanjiro, are the crops. The crops are the ones that are removing fertilizers from the soil. So they are degrading. So it's not the fertilizer that is degrading, it's actually the chemicals, the crops that you plant that are degrading. I'm going to give you an example, and I like giving an example. We've been told about nutrient removal. There is an app called AGPHD that you can download on your phone, AGPHD, that tells you the amount of nutrients that you remove when you plant a specific crop. And because maize is more close to us, I'm going to give an example of maize. If you plant an acre of maize and you convert it into a hectare, let's say, for example, if you're want to get 40 bags of maize from an acre, which is equivalent to 100 bags from a hectare or 9 tons from a hectare, the amount of equivalent of DAP fertilizer, let me give you an example of DAP, in terms of nutrients removal, it's equivalent to 10 bags of DAP. Tuko pamoja? If you use that app, you put corn, and then you put 9 tons of fertilizer, corn. It will give you that the removal of phosphorus is 82 kgs. If you use DAP, which has 46%, and one bag has 23%, if you convert that, because that is P2O5, if you convert that into P, you will get 9. So if you divide 82 by 9, you get 10 bags. So for every hectare, and 10 bags, if you divide 10 bags divide by 2.5, we remove. Once you plant a hectare, an acre of maize, and you harvest 40 bags, you remove an equivalent of phosphorus that is within 4 bags of DAP. Dr. Lillian said they used to get a lot of maize from the field, from their farms in Kitale, and they were using 1 bag. So they were underusing fertilizers and using the resources that are in the soil until the resources were depleted. Because if you are removing more than you are adding, eventually you will have 0. And that what we have is soils that cannot be able to sustain the number of bags that you are looking for in an acre.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for that. I think you'll tell us about that app again as we go towards the end. Mr. Mushugiri, I want to come to you. The government has a subsidy program, and just pass the microphone to him. So the government has a subsidy program at the moment, and previously you used to give DAP, and now we are sort of moving to blended fertilizers. What informed that?
I think that is a very interesting question, and I was actually expecting it. And let me start by saying that when Lillian was actually presenting her presentation, I think there is something that she has just mentioned in terms of the farmer behavior. And I think that is where I would like to maybe to start. Because basically what happens is that we are talking about a fertilizer that actually can acidify the soils if you are not actually taking any corrective measures. Or for example, when you are not applying lime. But I think for us, maybe for a start, it is good to say that we don't demonize DAP, because that is important.
Okay.
Everybody agrees it is a good fertilizer, and those of us who have used it, because I'm a farmer as well, I think we normally see very good results. But the problem is, since it is an acidifying fertilizer, if you don't take any other measures, are we applying lime so that you can be able to maintain or sustain probably in this case, the pH, the soil pH, within what we call the optimum levels for production.
Yeah.
Production of, for example, maize and others.
Yeah.
That has actually been our biggest challenge. And we said, instead of supplying it, the most important, because even at our subsidy program, if you go to National Cereals and Produce Board, you still find lime. But farmers were not actually taking it up. So we said the best thing is, for now, let's not have it because of that effect and the farmer behavior. But we try to introduce we encourage others. Of course, based on some of the other issues that have been raised, the issues of other micronutrients containing yields, and at the same time also in terms of encouraging now blended fertilizers that in this case address the other issues like crop-specific nutrients requirements, and also other issues like in this case the status of the soil and agroecological zones. But it is also important to say that even when you are talking about blended fertilizers, actually DAP is one of the main components within the blended fertilizers. Okay. But I think what is important is actually in terms of the concentration, or in terms of, in this case, the amount that you have in those. But what is important, that is what informed. The issue was the farmer behavior in terms of continuous use. Actually, I remember even when we removed it and we went to do monitoring, the one question you were asking at the depot level was, when farmers came, what were they expecting? They were actually expecting DAP. Yeah. I think that is what I can say. Okay. And that is what informed that.
All right. David, Dr. Kamau from Calro, you've done a lot of research in soil, and some of your work was what Daktari was sharing. Is fertilizer use, organic fertilizer use, the only cause of soil degradation, or there's still more to that?
Thank you. Are you talking of inorganic or organic? Because I think those are two different.
I'm talking about inorganic.
Inorganic, yes. The thing is, what does fertilizer do? You know, fertilizer is meant to be used. If you put 1 kilogram of fertilizer into the soil, you are meant to trace it back. Where that 1 kg is going, you know? And the ideal situation is that you put 1 kg, you trace it back. Because the soil doesn't need fertilizer. Soil is okay. You know? But that crop you are growing requires that fertilizer. So the value chain, depending on the value chain, you can trace it to where it is going. Fertilizer use efficiency is about that. Okay. That I put 1 kg, if I have 100% fertilizer use efficiency, I should see it going with the crop or with the value chain. Okay. If I have 50%, I should get 50%. Unfortunately, most of the fertilizers that we put, we can probably only get about 50%, fertilizer use efficiency. Where does the other half kg go to? It remains in the soil, and that is what Henry Ogola was talking of side effects, because the soils, anything that is left in the soil could be a problem, can have a side effect. And that is why we have this thing of soil health remember, for a long time we've been talking of human health, animal health,
Yeah.
crop health. But soil health, who talks about soil health? We are now in the agenda of soil health.
Okay.
And that is what we should be discussing.
All right.
Yes.
So you you brought a very interesting part. You said our efficiency use is not very good, and that means we sort of put blanket application of fertilizer, expect amazing results, but we don't get. I want to put it into this context. In 2023, I worked for a company that was working in Nyanza, all right? And we were working with smallholder farmers. And one of the fights we had every single day is that, no, we cannot put fertilizer, it will spoil our crops. And interestingly enough, when it came to the harvest period, they had interestingly good harvest. And they didn't put any fertilizer. They just went for the hybrid seed, and that was it.
Yes. What you are talking of is, the soil has native nutrient reserves.
Uh-huh.
And I think when Mr. Walker was talking, he talked about shifting cultivation. The older system,
Yeah.
whereby people are, because there was a lot of land.
Yeah.
You would go to one place after maybe 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And that time it used to be slash and burn. You'd chop off the vegetation, you'd burn, and it will release nutrients, and those nutrients will be used for some time. Once it's exhausted,
Yeah.
you'll have to move
To another
and
side.
allow the nutrients to be restored
Yeah.
in this place.
Yeah.
And that is what maybe people are still doing.
Okay.
I still see, and it's unfortunate
Yeah.
that I still see people burning because that's a practice that we've said is not sustainable. We don't have Kenya. Only 19% of Kenya
Yeah.
land is arable.
Okay.
That of all the land we have, only 19%. And even part of the 19%, they are buildings.
Yeah.
So you can imagine
So it's
the
less
kind
than
of
90.
chaos
Yeah.
that we are causing ourselves. And that is how food insecurity comes. So yes, as long as the soil has some, soil is meant to be regenerative, by the way.
Yeah.
And the reason why it's regenerative is because of one of the soil forming factors is organism. You have 5 soil forming factors. One of it is organism, and they make the soil regenerative. But if you are removing too much,
Yeah.
then the crop you put will not have access to those nutrients. And that's why we have no choice but to continue using fertilizers,
Okay.
either organic or inorganic.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me come to Mr. Njuguna. You're in the industry. And from the industry, I think that if there are people who are facing the most challenges is you guys, because farmers feel you're selling to them, you're always coming up with a new name, brand name or marketing name, and you're pushing it to the farmers. So you're the guys who normally face the brunt once in a while. So tell me, what are some of the misconceptions you've gotten, and how is the industry changing that aspect of, we are pushing products to you, we're not thinking about your soil, we just want to sell to you. How are you sort of trying to work with farmers to get them to understand that it's important to actually have fertilizer and you're not just selling to them?
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Yes, there are a lot of myth, there's a lot of fallacy, but what we are seeing right now, that trend is changing. What we in the industry, what we have been doing is a lot of training to sensitize, and of course to work along with CARO, to partner with CARO and other stakeholders, so that what we do is to try to train these people, to let them know that fertilizer really both the organic and inorganic, is not a bad issue. We have done a lot of trials and demos as what you saw being presented here. And this confidence, it has created a lot of confidence with the private sector. If you look 10 years ago, yes, most of the farmers were saying you're only interested in selling fertilizers to us, but now that is not the case. Farmers are really embracing, and if you see the number of the calls that we in the industry are receiving every day, farmers are asking for, for information, for advice, for recommendations. It's really changing, because what we are doing also, we want the farmers to know, first to know their soils. Once they know their soil through the soil analysis and all that, that's when we come in, we give them good advice, right recommendation. Of course, what Lillian has presented about the issue of the nutrients removals. So when we do follow that and farmers are doing benefit, are seeing the benefit, definitely the farmers are coming back to us.
Okay. All right, so the tide is changing.
The tide is changing.
All right, so Jeremy, we just want to shift gears a bit. You are on the other side. Let's just pass the microphone. So Jeremy, you're on the other side. Your lab, as a soil testing lab, has tested thousands and thousands of soil. So you definitely have a picture. You definitely have a picture of how the landscape looks like. I think you probably have a bit of data to just show us the trends of how our soils have been for some time. But my question is, are we looking at the wrong culprit about soil degradation? Are we just saying, looking for a scapegoat to say fertilizer is the scapegoat and missing the other red flags, probably other causes of soil degradation? Is it an actual concern about the fertilizer, or we are missing the bigger picture because we have someone we can point our finger to?
Yeah, I think from our perspective, having tested a lot of soils and worked with a lot of farmers over the last 20 odd years, what we really see in terms of degradation is widespread soil acidification. I think it's been touched on, but 70% of Kenya's food actually comes from 10% of our land. Wow. Yeah. Okay. So if we think about that 10%, that's actually high rainfall environment. Yeah. And what's really driving acidification in that 10% of land is rainfall. So when, and that's a myth that I would be busting, because we haven't seen any of that evidence in our long-term trials with DAP, that it's a significant cause of acidification. Okay. So acidification is a major threat to fertilizer use efficiency, as pointed out by Dr. Kamau. And to reverse that, we have to really step up with a liming policy to support improved fertilizer efficiency, make our fertilizers work better. Okay. There is also widespread lockup of nutrients with acidification. So phosphate, for example, you see it start to get locked up as the soils acidify. Calcium and magnesium decline because they're being leached out. You got the lockup of other nutrients, all related to acidification. So acidification is not just a change in pH, it's a massive change in the chemistry structure in our soils. The other declines we're seeing is, if we think about Lillian's circle of soil health, chemistry is carbon. So carbon levels are depleting. This is a lot because of cultivation practices. We are working our soils very hard in many cases. You saw how much maize we're producing. A lot of that land is being cultivated heavily. We're burning carbon. We're destroying our fungal biomass. So our soil life is actually depleting. That's biology. We have a lot of new soil tests now looking at fungal biology, fungal bacterial ratios, soil life. And we can see even in soils that have what we would deem adequate carbon, the actual biological activity is very low because of how we're treating our soils. The third part of that soil health that we're seeing is just it's not measured in a soil test per se, but is in compaction. So again, on our lands, the way we're treating our lands, we're compacting our soils, we're squeezing out all the oxygen. Oxygen is what feeds our fungi and bacteria. The fungi and bacteria are what convert our nutrients into plant available food.
Yeah.
So again, depleted levels of soil life from compaction, lack of oxygen, acidification. Calcium opens soils, it lets air into soils, we're acidifying our soils. So there's a whole multitude of issues that's actually causing soil degradation, and fertilizers are not a major cause of that.
Oh, interesting. So let me just ask Jeremy, and I think also the government has NAL, the National Lab for Soil Testing. How many is the government subsidy project also helping with soil testing? Because my assumption is you'll tell me to put in certain fertilizer after we've seen what is not in our soil. And as to what you say, a lot of nutrients could be in the soil but embedded in the soil because of acidity. So probably the best solution would be to give liming as a subsidy before we get into the fertilizers. I'd also like to hear Mushigiri's thoughts on the same.
Look, I think the ministry has been discussing embedding soil testing into the fertilizer subsidy for quite a number of years.
Okay.
I think it's obviously I run a soil testing business, so I'm somewhat biased, but I think it's a very good policy because it means that every farmer who is actually applying for the subsidy has a soil data for their farm and therefore uses the right inputs.
Yeah.
And there's a wide range of inputs that could fall into the subsidy policy. So I would call that a smart subsidy policy. We've done a lot of research in West Kenya where you can go 2, 3, 4, 500 meters across a landscape, and you can find a soil pH varying from 6 down to 4.8. Wow. So it really can't be blanket recommendations of lime. It has to be based on soil data, because obviously there's also risks of lime application being used from a blanket application perspective.
Okay. Mr. Mushingiri, a few thoughts on the same?
Maybe I can give the past thinking, and the current and the future. And I want to say that in our agriculture sector transformation and growth strategy that was done in 2019 to 2029, it was envisaged that any farmer that was actually to benefit from subsidy would have had the soils tested 100%. That is actually what had been envisaged. We started off with a subsidy program, the one that we are doing through agro-dealers, and the package, within the package we had put that. But then you see now, we presumed that the farmers would actually demand for the service. But since the demand was not coming in, most of the budget we put it at the fertilizer because that is what it was still limited, and that is what we were focusing on.
Yeah.
But I want to say currently, as much as we are not doing it, when it comes to the formulations that we are putting in the subsidy program, they are actually informed by CARO, the research from CARO, as well as the soil analysis that is actually even coming from the private labs. I think what was, I know there is a lot that had been done for, we got some, there are digital maps that are there, which were done actually by CropNAS through IFDC, and even the industry has actually the data sets that has actually assisted in terms of coming up with the recommendations. But mainly, what we are putting in the subsidy program is informed by formulations that are recommended by CARO, based on even their mandate as per the act or as per the law. But going forward, what we are actually proposing, and that is what we are working on, we are actually working on a policy framework for subsidy management, which will also include subsidy management, and that is the focus. So that what is going to happen, as much as CARO is actually doing, because currently at one of the World Bank funded programs, they are supporting soil analysis within the country. And we believe we are going to have the digital maps, which can actually inform the same. But for now, what we are seeing is that for subsidies, when we are doing the packages, that one now becomes one of the most important elements for subsidizing.
All right.
Because ideally, we don't want to continue, in this case, farmers getting taking the fertilizers
Yeah.
when we don't actually know the soil situation.
Yeah.
And that is the direction that we are going.
Okay. You want to say something?
Yes, let me, I'm in Karo, so I know this. There is a project that is talking about digital soil fertility mapping
Okay.
that is ongoing. And one of the reasons why that project is ongoing is that we want to map up to ward level all the soils in cropland and grazing lands.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be having those digital maps for ease of, making decisions.
Yeah.
This fertilizer subsidy program will be able to tell this area you can maybe use this kind of fertilizers,
Yeah.
because that's the level, those are the level of nutrients,
Yeah.
soil nutrients. But key to that is the high cost of analysis.
Yeah, I wanted to
Soil
speak to
testing.
that. Yeah.
The cost is a bit high.
Yeah.
So one of the objectives of that project is to see whether we can change the way, the approach we give soil analysis.
Yeah.
There are several ways of testing.
Yeah.
Our traditional way of doing things
Yeah.
is using what we call the standard, which is wet chemistry methods.
Yes.
It's very laborious, very tedious,
Yeah.
takes time, it's expensive.
Yeah.
But we want to see whether we can go the spectroscopic way,
Okay.
the digital way of doing it,
Yeah.
where you scan a soil and you are able in an instant
To
to
get the
get
results.
maybe your results.
Yeah.
So based on that, we will be able to bring the cost of analysis affordable to
Yeah.
a farmer.
Yeah.
Because different labs currently charge different results.
Yeah.
The beauty also with that kind of system is that this is spectroscopic. So all you need is to have a very robust spectral library
Yeah.
that will be able to sort of ensure that the results you get, if Jeremy here was maybe doing the same,
Yeah. Would get
and
the
we are
same.
using the same spectral library,
Yeah.
we'll get the same results,
Okay.
as opposed to currently, whereby you'd go to different labs and get different results.
Oh, really?
You go, yes, that's a challenge.
So who do we trust?
That's a challenge. No.
Who do we
And you
trust?
see, and
Yeah.
you see, it's just like the doctors, the medical doctors.
Yeah.
For a doctor to make a diagnosis, he has to send you to a lab.
Yeah.
But supposing he sends you to a lab that is giving you results that are not, he'll end up giving you a wrong.
A wrong prescription.
Yes, and that still continues now, and that's why we are talking of soil health. Because if you get the wrong prescription,
Yeah.
you put the wrong fertilizers,
Right.
then you end up with a problem with the soil, and that's why this project is so important for us as a country.
As a country. All right, so I want to hear whether we have any reactions or questions from the audience. Any question, reaction, anyone who wants to probably chip into what we're talking about? There's a question right there. Just stand so that we'll be able to identify you, and another one, just stand so that we're able to see you. One last one from a lady. A question from a lady. Anyone who wants to ask, a lady or another gentleman? It looks like gentlemen are the ones who are ready for this panel. All right, so we'll start with you. So just introduce yourself, which organization you come from, and then you ask your question in bullet points.
Thank you so much. My name is, I'm from Goat Master Kenya. I deal with goat breeding, genetics.
Okay.
So I engage with farmers on a daily basis. I'm also a lawyer by profession. I resigned my 8 to 5 job. I'm a full-time farmer. So I've loved the concept of digital mapping of soil sampling, because that's, mine is just a comment. It's not a question.
Okay.
So the centralization of data is what is missing in the agriculture space, so that now farmers can be able to know which type of crops to plant when it comes to crops, fodder for their animals. Because most of the farmers at the moment, they just guess. They see someone online on YouTube planting something, they guess without soil sampling. So I was just recommending that is a strategic move that will be able to assist, especially guys in diaspora.
Yeah.
They are having challenge with information. So such digital aspects can be able to ensure that we have food security from a strategic point. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. There's a question to this gentleman. All right, so even as we get that remark, you could be thinking of your closing remarks so that and we'll start with you, Jeremiah.
So my name is Ken Jugi. I represent Kenya Youth Biodiversity Network. I happen also to be a young scientist and a researcher. My question, I've seen researchers here in the agronomy sector. So my question is, what are your organizations? I've seen CropNuts here, Carol here. Yeah, what are the organizations doing to engage young scientists, to engage with them in the research sector? Myself being a scientist, what are the organizations doing to engage the youth in the research sector?
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Any last question or remark? No? Yeah, there's one here. And it's from a lady. Thank you so much.
Thank you. My name is Dr. Esther Gikonyo, a retired staff from Karo Kabete, having worked in soil fertility and plant nutrition for about 38 years. Mine is not a question, but a comment. I want to thank all the presenters for very, very informative information they have given unto us. Mine is a comment regarding the soil testing subsidy. I really appreciate that Carol is into coming up with digital mapping, which are going to the level of award. But soils are very dynamic, they are very complex, and even within a ward, there are a lot of variabilities.
Yeah.
And as it was mentioned earlier in the presentation by Ririan, the fertilizer use efficiency is very low. Actually, putting it at 50% is on the higher side, because for some nutrients like phosphorus, it's even below 25%. And therefore, if we are going to enhance the fertilizer use efficiency, it is important, even having the digital maps, which will probably be very useful in the distribution of fertilizers, because, you know, generally in a certain area, these are the requirements of the fertilizers. But to go into the specifics to enhance the fertilizer use efficiency and the production, we still need that subsidy in soil testing, so that it will be specific to a farm, because through the management over years of the different farms, they are quite diverse. And to capture that one, that soil analysis is still very important. In the 80s, when I was appointed in the Ministry of Agriculture, soil testing was subsidized. Initially, when soils came through the extension staff, the services were given free. After a short while, the cost was, there was a subsidy but not 100% for soil testing. And I think this should be the thing we should look into in the future if we are going to improve production to attain sustainability.
Yeah.
The issue of soil testing subsidy is quite critical and important.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Gikonyo. All right, my panel, I would like to hear your final thoughts even as you incorporate what has been shared by the audience. We'll start with you, Bona Jeremiah, as we proceed that way.
Thank you very much. Just to start with what the young researcher has said, some companies, especially us from the private sector, especially Elgon Kenya, and here I have to commend my director here, Dr. Bimal. Every year, what we are doing, we are giving, as Elgon Kenya, we are giving opportunity of more than 25 students, graduates actually, who have graduated from Nairobi universities and other, an internship program for 6 months. So in this program, they are given opportunity now, to link what they have learned in the university and to prepare them for the job market. So they are researchers, they are entrepreneurs, they are agribusiness in those, in that program. So I think in the private sector, we have taken the lead there, and I must commend my director. In my closing remarks, I would say that we as an industry, we have come up with many programs and many formulations that are tailor-made to specific regions. The analysis, the soil, the result says we have specific formulation for high acidic areas, crop specific. So we are really taking note of what is happening, the emerging market, and in the industry, that's what we are doing. As you see from various companies, we have various blends addressing different challenges, and these farmers really have taken quite positively. For example, we incorporate liming material in our blends, and we know over the time, by continual use of introducing this liming material, using it as a filler material in our formulation, we know over the time it will bring something positive. Yes, thank you very much.
Asante, thank you so much. Bwana Ndegwa.
Thank you. In my final remarks, I would like to conclude and say that in 1970s, the Kenyan population was below 10 million. Today, we are almost touching the 60 million mark. And the same land that used to feed 10 million is expected to feed us as we go to beyond 60 billion. And the land, agricultural land, which used to be there, is under threat. Cities are expanding. We are subdividing agricultural land. It is now left to us to see how we can increase production per unit area. And how we can do that is by efficient use of fertilizers. We don't underuse and we don't overuse, and we are going to be guided by soil analysis. Point number 2, there is this confusion between organic and inorganic fertilizers. Organic and inorganic fertilizers are complementary. If you look at organic fertilizers, there are things that, or let's say we call them manure or soil conditioners. They enhance soil aeration and also soil water retention capacity. A soil that is low in organic matter will not hold water. Infiltration of water will also be a problem. Jeremy has mentioned about compaction. Soil that has low organic matter compacts much faster than that which has high organic matter. In my view, fertilizers inorganic fertilizers are enriched with higher percentage of nutrients per kilo or per unit. And I have done also analysis for compost manure and also animal manure. And I haven't seen any manure that goes above 4% of nutrient composition, either NPK or the trace elements. They are always below 4%. If I ask you, if you are looking for nutrient supplement, between manure which has got 3% P and DAP, for example, which has 46%, I'm sure you would go for that which has higher concentration per unit area. But when you look at organic, you cannot override the use of organic because you need soil retention, water retention. Instead of the rain that comes, that drop of water is very important. If it's going to hit the soil and then run off because of the way the soil has low organic manure, then we have a problem. I would say, and I would, to remove this confusion, I would label and tell the policymakers to label all the organic fertilizers as soil conditioners, and then that will separate them from inorganic fertilizers. And then we tell our farmers, because the problem with our farmers is lack of understanding and low understanding.
Yeah.
Instead of blaming the farmers, we go there, we reach out to the farmer and we tell them manure is important, but it has to be used hand in hand with inorganic fertilizers. It's like the way you go to the hospitals and you're told that you have to take this medicine together with food.
Yeah.
So you have to apply fertilizer together with manure. That concept, if it's get taken down to the farmers,
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll see our yields going up. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, David. Dr. Kamau.
Yes, let me start with that question. How do we engage our young researchers across Kenya? For us in Karo, we have about 51, 52 centers or sub-centers. Every year in the month of March, we open doors for a whole week in these centers. And centers are where research is done. Headquarters, that is administrative, but centers is where research is done. That's where you interact with the researchers in different disciplines. The beauty with the soil is a cut across, so it will be probably in all centers. I coordinate natural resource management in Karo, so I know that we have officers there whom you can interact with when we have the open days. The other thing is, Dr. Gikonyo, subsidy in terms of, testing. Yes, it's a good thing to have subsidy. But subsidy is not, to me, subsidy should just be there for a short time. And the approach you are taking of making sure that the costs come down, to me, is the more sustainable way. Let's say, and our take is that the cost will probably come down from the current, let's say over 1,000. If we can get to below 1,000, I think that will be a good cost. And that is the approach we are taking. Let's not go beyond 1,000. Whether it's private labs or it's government labs. My closing remarks are, let us use our fertilizers, whether organic or inorganic, in a judicious manner. Let it be led by something. So you have to take your soils for testing so that you are told which fertilizers to apply, how to apply, and let the industry players also ensure that they stick to the standards that are done consultatively at KEBS. That is the only way we can ensure that we have a sustainable soil health and we have good production. Food secure country. That is where we aim at getting.
All right.
I think for me, I want to start from when the presentation was being done here. When we are defining soil degradation, there are other factors, quite a number of them, that contribute to soil degradation. And I think it would be interesting if you were to have some presentation in terms of what is the attribution. Because now we are talking about fertilizer, and everybody outside there thinks about that is the devil. But we are talking about other factors. I think without mentioning, I know there are more than 7. So that if you are to look at the attribution, you'll even be surprised. We are talking about the issues of soil carbon. When we are outside there, how do we normally put our messages across? Because that is what is important. And the other thing is the issue of messaging is very, very key. How do we put messages there? What is your value proposition? And I've said it before. When we are getting outside there, let's not demonize one practice. When we are trying to position, for example, our products, that will be a very big problem. And I think, but for us, what we are seeing is that the farmer, we need to train the farmers in terms of the practices that are required so that we can maintain the soil health and so that we can also be able, because we are talking about a resource that we are relying on for food and nutrition security. Number 2, I wanted to say that we have a model that the ministry has actually started, the agripreneur model. And already the counties have actually commissioned agripreneurs. These are young people who will actually be based at the wards. They are based at the wards. And one of the most important thing they'll be doing is actually the issue of taking soil samples, supporting even what is going on right now, advising farmers. And we are looking at the crop value chains, the ecosystem, so that we can be able to address all the issues that are actually affecting, for example, the issues of production. So that is important, to look at things holistically. Then, the other important thing, I want to raise this document, because even when Bwana Oko talked about, he mentioned it. And this is a document that was actually developed, formulated with the participation of all the stakeholders. This is the agriculture soil management policy. And this policy, the issues we are actually conversing, all the issues are here, the challenges are very well detailed here. And even the policy, what I can call the policy pronouncements, are actually within this. And I think that is what Bwana Oko's talked about, the issues of the bill, soil bill, because it's going to support the implementation of this policy. But of essence, and this would be my call, is we as stakeholders ensure that we support implementation of this policy. It talks about very many issues. One of the chapters is on fertilizers. The others, we are talking about issues of land degradation, issues of soil conservation, organic fertilizer, biofertilizers. It has so many things, policy pronouncements. If we can be able to either come up with a strategy or implement this, then we'll be good to go, and the blame game will not actually be there. Thank you.
So the question is, where do we get that copy?
This copy is available online. It is available. It is actually available online.
The ministry's website?
Yeah, it is there. And since it was actually a consultative process, if you had given, if Bwana Oko had the time, he would have even taken you through the policy development process. And it is available. It addresses all those issues. Finally, I wanted to comment on what Bwana Ogora raised. And I think that has actually been one of our challenges. We have the Fertilizer and Animal Foodstuffs Act. And this act, I think there have been attempts before to try and separate the fertilizer and actually the animal foodstuffs. But I think we have not succeeded so far. But within it as well, there is actually a board that was established, the Fertilizer and Animal Foodstuffs Board. I think I've said before, the board has, the functions of the board are categorized into 3. We talk about regulation, promotional and advisory.
Okay.
So probably as we think about that, we believe the board will be there in future.
Yeah.
I think we'll be able to work together and address those issues. But for now, all of us are working together.
Okay.
And that is what is important, so that we can be able to address these issues.
All right.
Thank you.
So, Jeremy, there's been a request that we reduce the prices of soil testing. Please give us your closing remarks.
On the price of soil testing, I'd say, what's the cost of getting it wrong? So, you know, if you look at the price of soil testing vis-a-vis the price of, saying, doing a blanket lime application, you know, the pros and cons, the ROI on soil testing, if you get the right recommendation, is very strong. So I think it's always looking about return on investment, and making sure that the advice that you're getting, because soil testing is one step, it's the advice that you get after the soil test that's really key. Looking at how that could cost you if you get it wrong.
Okay.
My closing remark would be that, you know, in order for us to thrive and survive and succeed as an industry, we have to have our farmers thriving and succeeding. And so this whole conversation is really about a systems approach. Soil health is a system, a management system that we have to apply. We have to test our soils. We have to have an enabling environment for farmers to be able to lime their soils. We have to have the right products in the right places to allow farmers to put the right nutrients in, be that as fertilizer or carbon materials, as compost or organic material. We have to have an enabling environment for supporting farmers in the field with right tillage and equipment through extension services, and in order to bring life back into our soils, the biology back into our soils, we must move away from monocropping. We have to put all that together, and then we build healthy soils for our nation, which will produce healthy crops and nutritious food.
All right. Thank you so much. Let's give a round of applause to our panel. You want to say something? Very briefly. You want to respond, but very briefly, yeah? I'll also ask my panel to be standing here so that we take a photo together as Mr. Ogola asks his question.
I come back again, just a few comments.
Yeah, they're here.
Maybe you have to answer me. When we read that, we see sustainable fertilizer use. Who is using the fertilizer? The farmer. We all see here, we have suppliers, we have recyclers, and so on. Sustainable use can only be achieved through farmer using fertilizer properly. Now,
use the microphone.
When you visit NAL, National Agricultural Laboratory, is now under Calro, you see, I think it was established in 1906. This institution, Calro, very strong, very capable, doing good research. In the past, I commend them. They do a very good job. In the past, the findings, research findings, trickled down to the farmer. There was something called Agricultural Information Center. I don't know if it's still there. Then from Agricultural Information Center, it went to the extension, and the extension then went to the field to pass that to the farmer. I don't know, without effective extension service, whether that information, that useful findings, is reaching the farmer. That needs to be addressed. Now, when we come to the next one, that is Carol and the farm. Extension, in my view, is a public good. I think that's what the economists call it. Things like health, education, and so on. Private sector's role is supplementary, complementary, but the basic responsibility for financing, providing public goods is the government from the exchequer. So money must be put from the exchequer to fund extension. I'm passionate about this proper use of fertilizer by the farmer. Proper use of fertilizer by the farmer. Now, we get to the next question. Burning question is soil acidity. Oh, we talk about soil acidity so passionately. Fertilizer A, fertilizer B. Oh, this is, I think, it needs to be addressed. It's necessary to have a special conference to discuss acidity and how to tackle it. Oh, it is DAP. Oh, it is this and this and this. That's not enough. For instance, now, DAP is not included in the fertilizer subsidy for some reason I gather, I don't know if I'm right, is because it causes acidity. So blends are now being given priority, but the blenders here, they are here, will tell you the blends have at least 60 to 70% DAP.
Thank you. You are done.
Finally,
yes,
is about the subsidy. Machigiri, listen very carefully. We talked about subsidy and this negative impact on supply chain. Subsidy. I think also we need to answer this question. Is 2,500 shillings affordable to that small resource poor farmer or not? How can that be addressed? The majority of the small farmer. Maybe one of the reasons that you don't get good uptake is because of affordability. The small farmer may not be in a position to afford buying fertilizer, even at subsidized rates of 2,500. I don't know how it is fixed. Okay?
Yeah, the last one.
Finally, when it comes to what we call blends, there are two types of blends: standard and custom. Custom is based on specific tests to determine crop and soil requirement. So we cannot say, oh, blends. I think that's where the soil testing becomes extremely important. I don't know, but I posit that the majority of farmers are not able to access soil testing service. So that must be strengthened. One more last thing about blends. Novel idea. It addresses specific and soil requirements. But there's the dangers. The quality of the blend. The biggest danger in blends is segregation. Because you put DAP, you put urea, you put potash. If the granules are not matched in size, by the time it reaches the farmer for application, is not what you put on the bag. There must be a way of ensuring that blends meet that matching of granules. Then finally, you make a blend in Mombasa, transport it all the way to the corner in Eldoret and Singishu over rough terrain. Oh my God, by the time the bag reaches there, segregation especially, potash one side, DAP one side, when the farmer applies it, it's no longer one. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, the father of fertilizer. Now, I'll only give the two of you.
Yes, good
Mushigiri
comments.
and Kamau.
I think those are good comments.
Yeah.
I think Henry has very good comments. The blends. You know we have a standard on blends. So can we apply that standard to the letter? I think once we have that, the blend issue is solved. Let's stick to that standard. What it is, physical, chemical, you know, packaging, all that, which is within the standard. In terms of the message, and you said it very clearly, extension is now a county. So what we do, because of the current constitution we are having, what we do is that we try as much as possible to produce digital extension. And that is what Caro and stakeholders are doing to see whether we can use the digital space to do extension. Agripreneurs model are also doing it. So I think we are not badly off, only if we ensure that these things are done according to what we have proposed.
Let me just add to what Dr. Kamau has just stated and say that the e-voucher system, the one that we use, it actually has a communications module. And all the farmers that are registered in that system, we can actually be able to pass messages to the farmers through their USSD and smartphones. I think that is important. Maybe the other issues that he has actually raised, which are also pertinent, I may not be able to give a policy status for now, but I know there is something that is going on. Because, and that is why I said, in 2017, we actually redesigned the National Fertilizer Subsidy Program, and we took it to the agro-dealers. Then I think in other forums I've actually explained the reason why we actually went back to the NCPB. I think I had explained it before. But even now currently we are also aware it's not the best, especially when we are talking about bottom-up economic transformation agenda, because that is key. We know when we take subsidy to NCPB and the agro-dealers are not participating, it has actually an effect on incomes for the agro-dealers as well as those that are employed. And that is important. It's not that we are not live to this, and I want to say that we are thinking about it without giving maybe specific details, but I believe very soon you are going to see something. I think that is what I want to say. But again, when I talked about this policy, I said the government is keen on implementation of this policy because all the issues that we are raising were actually covered in this policy. And it was done through stakeholders. We went to national validation. The issues that Henry is raising, they are also here in terms of challenges and also what I can call the policy pronouncements. That is, I think, where we are going. I think I have heard the issues that he has raised, and what I want to say that we are actually working around that. But of importance, and I also said, we have an extension policy. And I like the way he's saying about complementation. But for us, we say one word, extension is pluralistic, and I want us to work together because you have agronomists. I think Bana Jogona talked about it. There's a lot that is being done because we need to complement each other, and that is what is important.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so a round of applause to the panel. We will now take a group photo. You guys you've done quite a good job today in setting the pace now for the day. So we'll take a group photo. Then after this photo, I'll invite the initial speakers that we had for opening remarks.